All right, Future Sports, where you can get all my plays and predictions as well as my recaps of line movements and why games went a certain way. All right, so this is college football here. This is week one. Start of the week zero was last week, and we have on Thursday. We have Pittsburgh and Virginia here. I'm looking at this matchup. I already see line movement here with Pittsburgh. Okay, so this one caught my attention a little bit because this, I believe, is going to get most of the action come Thursday. Okay, compared to some of these other games. Penn State, this one might get some action as well. But as far as the early game, I see this one, not early game, but the 4 p.m. game, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So this one right here, Pittsburgh, you have open up at 7, move to 7.5. All right, and anytime book line maker moves off of a key number, that's very significant. You should also take a look at that. So as you see here, there's really no, it's still leveling out the percentages, the line. So it moved to 7.5 here, but it looks a lot bigger to me than what most people would think because of it moving off of a key number. And anytime the line makers move off a key number, there's a reason for that. So the line makers don't like moving off of key numbers because the more they move off a key number in football, they could middle their bet. So people could come in on the other side and bet a middle. If this line gets up to 9, 10, essentially the sharp bettors or the bigger bettors can manipulate it, and also they can middle the game where they can get a -7 originally and then take it at +10 if it gets there and hit both sides. And that's what the line makers want to avoid. So anytime they move off of a key number, you have to take a look at it because it's more respected than any other thing. So I would look at this matchup here. Now, as you see here, Kenny Pickett, I should say JT Daniels, first of all, is the starting quarterback for West Virginia here. So he came over. He was with Georgia, Georgia and USC. So he's the starting quarterback for West Virginia, JT Daniels. And Kenny Pickett just left Pittsburgh to go to the Steelers, which he was a big part of their offense, obviously taking them to 11-3 overall record. But now Pittsburgh has Slovis, which came from USC. So we have two new quarterbacks that have played in big games and played in big conferences. So I feel like you could just plug them in and they would be successful, especially if you're a good team already. But the thing to note is West Virginia wasn't a good team last year. So if you look at their record, West Virginia was actually 6-7, I believe. Let me check. So West Virginia was 6-7 overall. And obviously we know Pittsburgh was a good team, a great team at 11-3. So obviously there's a reason why Pittsburgh's favored by 7 here, 7.5. But if you plug in a quarterback that's had success already, like Slovis and also JT Daniels, you should be successful if your team is good already. So Pittsburgh is a good team. Last year they were 11-3, but let's check to see how many returning starters. So this is where early weeks you can get massive edges over the line makers. So we're going to confirm this, and we're going to see that if you look at this is the returning starters, returning production on both sides of the ball. So as I saw earlier, Pittsburgh, let me see if I could find them. I think they're around 60%, 67%. So Pittsburgh's bringing back 69% of their returning production on both sides of the ball here. Okay, whereas West Virginia is pretty much dead last, bringing back 44% of offense and defense on both sides of the ball. Okay, so 44, they have basically a new team with a experienced quarterback coming in, whereas Pittsburgh has a great team with an experienced quarterback coming in. So who are we going to lean there? Obviously, we would lean Pittsburgh, and that's the reason why this line is already moving toward 7.5, 8, 8.5. Okay, so the bettors are getting ahead of the market here and pushing this line up to 7.5. So this is a very respected move here. Okay, so right now it's showing, you're going to see it at, obviously I showed you at 67% Pittsburgh, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's public money. Okay, so this could be very well sharp money, as well as when the public comes in on this game, they could eventually push it all the way to 10. So I probably will stay away from this play, but if I were to take Pittsburgh, I would take them now because you're getting a really good line on this game. So this is not going to be an official play. I'm just breaking down this matchup here, and I did a little research on this matchup already. So I personally like Pittsburgh in this matchup. I don't necessarily like them at this number, but if I were to take this matchup, I would probably take Pittsburgh and buy down to like 6.5 or something and take Pittsburgh. But at this number, especially at this money line, the money line is going to be well over 200. So it's at 300 right now. Virtually unbettable. You would have to put up 300 to win 100 on the money line on Pittsburgh. But I do lean Pittsburgh in this matchup. And just to show that they've already moved off a key number, so the line makers are respecting, Vegas is respecting already Pittsburgh in this matchup. And with the little research that we did here, there's a reason why, with West Virginia bringing back only 44% of their offense, that's a big part of whether or not Pittsburgh is going to cover or West Virginia is going to cover this game or not. So I lean Pittsburgh in this matchup. Don't like them at this number, but that's the lean. That's my lean on this game. And, you know, 67% of the offense and defense is coming back, returning production for Pittsburgh, as well as they're getting a quality quarterback in Slovis, which he's played in games before, as well as so has JT Daniels. So that's going to do it for this video. I'll be back with some more videos. So comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you then.